day everyone, and I will be here to discuss the fourth lesson in basic macroeconomics. So, as part of your midterms exam, meron tayong apat na lessons na kailangan i-cover, and we already tackled the three, and this will be the last one, and tungkol siya sa economic institutions. Now, for the learning objectives of this lesson, we have three objectives or three things that you must learn at the end of this lesson. So, first is to define market economy and compare and contrast socialism and capitalism. Second is describe the role of businesses and households in the market economy. And third is the list and discuss the various roles of government. So, this discussion of ours will be divided into three subtopics. So, in the first subtopic, I will be discussing what is market economy. So, what's the difference between socialism and capitalism, and how does both of those terms work in economy, as well as ano yung roles ng businesses and households sa market economy, which our country belong, and also ano yung roles ng government, and kung ano yung Philippine government setup na meron tayo ngayon. So, let us first talk about the market economy. So, in the definition, in the presentation, it says that market economy is an economic system based on private property and the market, in which, in principle, individuals decide how, what, for whom to produce. So, inside a country, there are lots of policies and regulations na isinasagawa nila for them to be able to meet the demands and also to regulate the supplies that they have. So, when we talk about market economy, isa po yung klase ng konsepto na kung saan ay merong mga private properties, merong mga entrepreneurs, merong mga business owners na nag-exist sa isang country. But yet, ang pinaka-main focus ng economy na yun is to drive and to regulate the demand and the supply of that specific country. When we talk about demand, ang dinidil natin dun is to give the needs and wants of the consumers. And when we deal about the supplies, we are talking about the allocation of materials, the allocation of resources that a specific country has. So, kung market economy yung pinapairan na economic system sa isang bansa, even if merong private owners ng mga businesses, ay dapat na ibibigay pa rin yung pangangailangan ng mga lahat ng consumers or lahat ng mga tao doon sa isang specific na country. So, yun yung market economy. And in relation to the economic system that the Philippines has, mako-consider natin na ito yung pinapairal sa atin ng market economy because there are lots of establishments na hindi naman owned ng government, yet they have set the rules, the government have set the rules on how will the businesses provide or how will the business give their supplies to the consumers. May mga rulings pa rin sila na ibinababa even if hindi naman government talaga yung may-ari ng establishments na nag-exist dito sa ating country. So, yun yung market economy. In addition to it, sabi dito, individuals follow their own self-interest while market forces of supply and demand are relied on to coordinate those individuals' pursuits. Businesses guided by prices in the market produce goods and services that they believe people want and that will earn a profit for their business. So, just like what I've said earlier, when we talk about market economy, even if privately owned, may ibang establishments na nag-exist dito sa ating country, still, meron pa rin mga rulings na ginagawa yung government for them to be able to rule out kung ano yung mga bagay na dapat natatanggap ng mga consumers. So, dito din sa presentation natin, merong reasons kung paano nag-work ang isang market. So, Consider this as a concept of common sense, no, kung paano nag-work ang isang market. No, so market is defined differently in economics and in business. Now, when we talk about market, sinasabi natin na ang market ay lugar na kung saan ay nagkakaroon ng pagpapalitan ng serbisyo o produkto ang consumers at ang mga may-ari ng negosyo. No, so sabi dito, markets work through a system of rewards and payments. The concept of fairness that underlies a market economy, them that works gets, them that don't starve. In a market economy, individuals are encouraged to follow their own self-interest. No, so, sa paraan daw ng pagkakaroon or pagbibigay ng bayad, ay meron kang matatamo na something. No, yun daw, or sa ganong paraan daw nag-work ang market. And sinasabi dito sa concept sa second paragraph na kung sino yung mga tao na nagtatrabaho at kumikita, sila yung possible na makabili. At kung sino naman yung hindi, sila yung nagugutom. Which is, in the reality, ganun talaga yung nangyayari. Now, if you have the means to buy something, if you have the means to pay for something, then you will gain something. But even there are still no unfairness on the end of how market works. Kung hindi ka naman daw kikilos at hindi ka kikita, mamamatay ka sa gutom, which is true. No, na nangyayari to. And sabi nga dito, a market economy encourage the individuals to follow their own self-interest. Kung ano man yung gusto nila na bilhin, kung ano man yung gusto nilang pagkagastusan, yun naman talaga yung pwede nilang i-gain as rewards because of their payments. No, so that's how market works. And even if there are unfairness sa existence ng market, kasi sabi nga natin kanina, kung hindi mo pagtatrabahuhan at wala kang kita, hindi ka naman makakagain ng something. You will not be able to buy anything if you have, no means of buying or having no means of paying something that you want. But still, there are lots of good things about market. And sabi dito na there is a good way to coordinate individuals' activities in a reasonable way. Sabi niya, it's true that it has problems. The market can be unfair, mean, and arbitrary, and sometimes it is downright awful. The primary debate among economists is not about using markets. It is about how markets should be structured and whether they should be modified and adjusted by government regulations. So, sabi nga natin kanina, even if may unfair na part sa existence ng market at totoong may problema sa mga markets, it can be still fair if the government will regulate policies and guidelines and even laws na makakapagsabi na lahat ng tao naman ay may karapatang bumili o makagain ng something. Like for example, meron tayong mga suggested retail price na kapag sinabi na ganito lang po yung presyo ng pagbenta ng produkto na to, ito lang dapat yung pagbenta ng mga businesses dun sa specific product na yun. Kasi kung mag-go beyond sila doon sa sinabi o dun sa rule ng government, meron na silang hindi sinusunod na batas. At kung mag-go naman sila down, or ibig sabihin mas mura kung sa compare dun sa suggested retail price na binigay ng government, sila naman yung hindi kikita as business owner. So, it should be two-way around. Kikita and yet may sinusunod pa din. And that is a good thing about market. Even if sometimes it is unfair, mean, or arbitrary. Sabi nga dito sa ating presentation. Okay, so these two terms, capitalism and socialism, has been discussed many times sa ibang subjects. I guess narinig nyo na yung term na to sa ethics. Narinig nyo na yung term na to sa service culture kung nagkaroon na kayo ng ganong subject. And these are often categorized in similar ways. Parang nakikita ng mga tao na magkaibang word siya, yet pareho lang yung konsepto. But in economics, it is defined differently. So, iisa-isahin natin or hihimayin natin kung ano yung pinagkaiba ng term na capitalism and then ng socialism. Now, Let's first talk about socialism. Sabi dito, an economic system based on individuals' goodwill toward others, not on their own self-interest, and in which, in principle, society decides what, how, and for whom to produce. Now, from the word itself, social, no, sa economic system na ito, lahat ng mga tao na kung saan ay nakatira sa isang specific na country, sila ang nagdidikta sa lahat or sa, like for example, sila ang nagdidikta sa business, sila ang nagdidikta sa government, sila ang nagdidikta sa economy itself, kung ano ba yung mga bagay na dapat i-produce for them. No, like for example, hypothetically speaking, socialism ang ginagamit sa Pilipinas kapag sinabi ng mga taga Mindanao na ang kailangan nila ay bigas, kailangan na ibigay ng gobyerno sa kanila ay bigas lang. Kasi yun lang yung sinasabi nilang kailangan nila, which is yung bigas. No, so, sabi nga dito, hindi nila inaatupag yung goodwill ng ibang tao, but rather they are just thinking about themselves. Thinking about what they need, thinking about what are the things that should be provided to them. And even if magkakaiba sila ng gusto, dapat yun ang i-provide ng businesses and ng government sa kanila. No, kaya siya tinawag na socialism. No, again, this is an economic system based on individuals' goodwill toward others and not on their own self-interest. On the other hand, kapag sinabi naman natin capitalism, is defined as an economic system based on the market in which the ownership of the means of production resides with a small group of individuals called capitalists. So, kung kanina dun sa socialism, sinasabi natin na kung ano yung sinasabi ng tao na kailangan nila, yun ang dapat i-provide ng businesses and yun ang dapat i-provide ng government. Kapag pinag-uusapan naman natin yung capitalism, we are talking about the profit and the gains of the entrepreneurs in which they offer the products that they think they will earn, and kung ano yung naiisip nila na ay kakailanganin ito ng mga tao, ibenta natin to. Yun yung idea ng capitalism. No? Even if magtayo sila ng isang establishment na hindi naman talaga totally kailangan ng mga tao, if they think that them as business owner will earn a profit, pwede silang mag-exist or pwede silang somehow maging part ng economy ng isang bansa na iyon. We are not talking about hypothetical, no? Pero dito sa Pilipinas, capitalism talaga yung economic system na meron tayo. Kasi as you can see, no, napakadaming businesses na bigla na lang sumusulpot na hindi naman natin talaga technically kailangan, pero may mga pagkakataon na bigla tayong bibili kasi nag-trend siya, bigla tayong bibili kasi biglang kailangan siya, but in reality, no, sa physiological needs ng mga tao, hindi naman talaga siya needed. No, like for example, nauso bigla yung mga Pop Marts na toys. No, idinidikta sa atin ng ekonomiya na merong mga businesses na nag-e-exist na nagbebenta ng toys. And tayo as consumers, we have our own free will, no, to buy whatever we want as long as we have the capabilities of doing it and we have the means of doing it. So kahit na hindi mo naman talaga kailangan ng toys, bibili ka ng toys kasi sinasabi ng economy na may mga nag-e-exist na business na nagtitinda ng toys. No, kung dun sa konsepto ng socialism ang pag-uusapan, sasabihin natin as consumers na mag-produce kayo ng laruan kasi kailangan namin ng laruan. No, as government, you will do some things, no, for you to be able to fulfill the needs of your consumers. And as businesses, kailangan mo sumunod sa sasabihin ng gobyerno na, gumawa kayo ng laruan kasi kailangan pala ng mga taga Mindanao ng laruan. Yun yung konsepto ng socialism. Sa capitalism, may mga tao, may mga kapitalista, no, na merong pampuhunan na kaya magtayo ng sarili nilang negosyo at idikta sa mamamayan na kailangan nyo to, bumili kayo nito. Yun yung pinagkaiba nilang dalawa. Okay? Sabi pa dito, in capitalism, believe that the government should allow the free market to determine the supply and demand. na hinahayaan ng gobyerno na kung ano yung mga ibinibenta sa merkado, iyon ang magdidikta ng dami ng supplies at dami ng demand na meron ang mga tao. For example, there are millions of existing businesses in the Philippines. Kapag sinabi ng isang business na, ay, short kami dito, malalaman ng government na short yung specific na product na yun. Kasi sila as business ang nagsabi na may shortage sila ng kanilang product. Hindi silang government ang nagdidikta na, okay, may shortage kayo. Yet, they are the one na or businesses ang nag-handle at nakakaalam kung meron silang shortage or wala. At pinapalam lang nila sa government. So, yun yung konsepto ng capitalism. So, how those two terms related to economics, kasi kung pag-uusapan natin yung economy as a whole, no, we are not just talking about money, we are not just talking about the resources, but the idea on how will the consumers able to fulfill their needs and wants. And through learning these economic systems, yung socialism and capitalism, doon natin nalalaman na kung sa paanong paraan ba na po-provide sa mga tao yung kanilang kailangan. Kung market ba ang nagdidikta ng supplies and demands, o yung tao ba ang nagdidikta kung ano yung kailangang isupply sa kanila. So, yun yung relationship niya sa pag-aaral natin ng economics. Okay, so let's jump into the second subtopic of this discussion. So, we've already talked about what is market economy. Napag-usapan na rin natin kung ano yung differences ng socialism and capitalism. And now, we will be talking about the roles of businesses and households in a market economy. So, again, sa market economy, sinasabi natin na it is an economic system based on the free will of or the self-interest of the consumers through the help of the establishments, the businesses na niro-roll out ng government. So, yun yung market economy. So, households, yan from the word itself na mga kabahayan in Tagalog, can be considered into two sectors. They can be categorized into two ways. Sabi dito, sa una, it supplies the factor services to the firms in the form of factors of production like land, labor, capital. And second is, it purchases all the final goods and services produced by the firms from the markets directly. They supply different factor services to the economy, and on the other hand, they create demand for the final goods and services from the market. So, households can be considered into two categories. Una daw, tayo daw yung nagpo-produce. Tayo yung nagpo-produce ng land, ng labor, ng capital. Pangalawa, tayo naman yung bumibili ng mga final goods na napoproduce na ng mga existing business. Which is true, because in some households, we own businesses. For example, all of us are part of household. Lahat tayo ay parte ng isang pamilya. Tayong lahat ay parte ng isang gobyerno. Tayong lahat ay parte ng isang bahay. So, may ilan sa atin na may-ari ng negosyo na siya ang nagpo-provide ng products or service sa mga consumers. At ang mayorya sa atin ay bumibili ng kanilang kailangan sa mga existing businesses. So, we can be categorized into two. Pwedeng ikaw yung nagpo-produce o pwedeng ikaw yung bumibili. But lagi niyong tatandaan na majority of us are the consumers. We are the one who buys. Hindi tayo usually yung nagpo-produce. Businesses usually ang nagpo-produce. But still, those business owners are part of the household. Kaya nako-consider pa rin siya as the supplier. So, yun po yung dalawang categories ng household. And as the role of the household, it can be divided into 6, into 5. Roles of households can be divided into 5. We can act as producer, we can act as consumers, we can act as taxpayers, we can act as professionals, and we can act as a saver. No, we act as as a producer because we became the entrepreneurs or the producers of different goods and services. And just like what I've said earlier na mako-consider natin na businesses din, or even if part sila ng household, ay business owners din sila. No, so they can still somehow produce goods or services. No, pangalawa naman is we act as consumers. Sabi dito, households are the final consumers of goods and services produced by the firms. No, we can act also as consumers dahil tayo rin naman yung bumibili ng mga final products na pinoproduce ng businesses. Third is we act as taxpayers. Households are the main sources of government tax revenue, which is true. No? All of the people who are living in a country is a taxpayer. No, so, dahil nga parte tayo ng isang household, parte tayo ng isang bahay, parte tayo ng isang barangay, isang bansa, lahat tayo ay nagbabayad ng buwis. Kaya we also act as taxpayer. Now, fourth is we act as professional. All types of professional services like doctor, teacher, lawyer, engineer, etc. come from households. Their activities are very much required for the country to enhance economic development. So there are lots of services that should be rendered to the consumers. No, hindi lang po tayo nabubuhay para lang bumili ng produkto. No, kinakailangan din po natin ng serbisyo habang tayo nabubuhay. No? We can be a good employee if hindi naman tayo naging estudyante. And paano ka magiging magaling na estudyante kung merong isang teacher na nagtuturo? So we need their services. And as professionals, no, they render services that are much needed by the consumers for them to become a good taxpayer, a good consumer, or maybe a good producer. So we also act as professional. And fifth one is we act as a saver. So households earn money income after giving several services to the economy. So lahat naman tayo sigurong tao ay dapat at mapupunta talaga sa pagkakaroon ng sariling kita. And yung mga kinikita natin, napupunta lang yan saan? Sa pagbili ng produkto, sa pagbabayad ng serbisyo na kakailanganin natin, sa pagbabayad ng tax, at lahat ng iyon ay ginagampanan nating mga tao na parte ng isang household. So we act as saver. So just again, learn what's the difference between these 5 roles, and even if madali naman siyang intindihin, some of the concepts there are maybe broad, malawak, pero it's easy for us to understand na pwedeng tayo yung producer, pwedeng tayo rin yung bibili, nagbabayad tayo ng buwis. Yes, may mga taong professionals. At panglima, we also act as savers. We earn money, we save money for us to be able to become a somehow good part of an economy. So, ayun yung differences nilang 5. Now, let's talk about the roles of the business. Sabi dito, it plays a vital role in our lives. First, they create goods and services to satisfy our needs and wants. Then, they also recruit households as labor and provide them with compensation such as wages, salaries, and benefits. Thus, it becomes a source of their income which can be used to sustain their life. So, business has a big part to people's lives. Dahil ang mga negosyo po ang nagpo-provide ng produkto o serbisyo na kailangan ng tao. Pangalawa, sila ang nagre-recruit sa mga miyembro ng household para magkaroon ng trabaho at para kumita. And definitely, if you as part of household will be able to gain wages and salary, you will definitely have a sustainable and good life. Dahil meron ka ng mga bagay na panggastos sa kailangan mo at sa mga bagay na gusto mong bilhin. So, ganun ka importante ang role ng business sa buhay ng mga tao. Binibigay ang kailangan natin. Pangalawa, sila ang nagpo-provide ng trabaho para sa mga tao para magkaroon sila ng kita. So, ayun yung roles ng business. And roles of business can be divided into 7, if I'm not mistaken. So, una is they satisfy our needs and wants, just like what I've said earlier. Second is they create added value. In what ways? So, imagine merong mga materyales na ginagamit or mga raw materials na ginagamit ang businesses, and they will turn it into something useful as final product. For example, yung kahoy. Yung kahoy na raw material, kaya nilang i-turn into something useful like chairs. So, they create added value. Na imbis na sana wala nang saysay yung kahoy, kasi kahoy lang naman siya, yet, they will input it, process it, and then make it somehow a useful thing na magagamit ng mga tao. So, they create added value. Third is, they create jobs, kagaya ng binanggit ko kanina. They provide manpower, yung mga lakas puwersa ng tao. Nagkakaroon ng labors because of the businesses. Kinakailangan ng employees, magkakaroon ng pasweldo, etc. Fourth is income creation in relation to the creating jobs. Kung meron silang nagagawang mga trabaho para sa mga tao, mas okay yung business activities, mas okay yung gains ng economy dahil may pinanggagastos yung mga tao dahil meron silang trabaho. Fifth is economic development. So, business activity creates a ripple effect, encouraging other businesses to emerge, creating more income and jobs in a region. The more businesses exist in a country, the more economic development a country can do. Kasi mas marami sila naging source of income. Kaya, mas okay yung business activities. Okay din naman yung economic development. So, nagkakaroon siya ng ripple effect. Next is living standard improvement. So, business activities contribute to improving people's living standards. It can go through several channels. So, sabi nga dito, ang buhay ay masaya kung ikaw ay gumagastos ng mas higit. Ganon kasi yung konsepto sa economics. If you wanted to have marginal benefits, you should know that meron kaakibat yun na marginal cost. May additional cost talaga na dapat kang bayaran. And yung roles ng businesses is for us to gain what we really need and to gain what we really want. So, kung gusto mo lang naman ng payak na buhay, pwede ka naman magtayo ng bahay kubo. Kung gusto mo ng extravagant na buhay, edi kailangan mong gumastos ng malaki para magkaroon ka ng magandang bahay. And those things are provided by the businesses. Nagiging role siya ng business kasi una sa lahat, hindi ka naman karpintero, na kaya magtayo ng sarili mong bahay. Hindi ka rin naman architect na kaya mag-design ng sarili mong bahay. Hindi ka rin naman construction supply para gawin yung mga kailangan mo hollow blocks, yung mga kailangan mo graba, yung mga kailangan mo materials to put up or to somehow build your dream home. So, isa sa role ng business at pinaka-importanting role ng business is living standard improvement. Mas pinapaganda nila yung buhay na meron yung mga tao dahil nag-exist naman yung business bukod sa para kumita ay para merong maging good benefits sa end ng mga mamimili. So, yun yung pang-anim. And lastly is community empowerment. So, sabi dito, some business organizations seek to strike a balance between profit, social, and environmental. They do not pursue maximum profit and wealth for the owner, but they reinvest the profits for social and environmental causes. So, when we talk about community empowerment, kaakibat nito yung corporate social responsibility. Sa corporate social responsibility, as businesses, they are earning profit, and they should be able to somehow give back to the community, give back to the environment, and give back to the society. No, kasi hindi naman sila kikita kung hindi rin naman sila sinusuportahan ng mga mamamayan. At meron silang dapat naiisip na proyekto na para sa ikagagaan at ikagaganda ng buhay ng mga mamamayan dun sa isang bansa. So that's how community empowerment works. No, so again, in the roles of business, there are 7. No, first is satisfying our needs and wants. Second is creating added value. Third is creating jobs. Fourth is income generation. Fifth is economic development. Six is living standard improvement. And 7 is community empowerment. Na so, na-discuss na natin kung ano yung roles ng household. Na-discuss na rin natin kung ano yung roles ng business. Now, we will be talking about the roles of government. Na so, bukod sa business, government also plays a significant role in our everyday lives, even in a supposedly capitalistic economy. A political body exercising control and authority over a group of individuals, governments allocate resources based on laws and command of the government. No, so, kahit nasabihin natin na may nag-e-exist na business, may household na nag-act as different ways, meron dapat government na nag-execute ng rules and regulations para mag-govern lahat ng galaw ng tao, galaw ng mga negosyante sa loob ng isang ekonomiya. Kaya, significant or importante ang role ng government sa buhay nating lahat. Sa roles ng government, there are 10 roles of government. So, this doesn't have concepts under its numbers, pero I hope na ma-familiarize kayo dito sa 10 na to, kasi bukod sa 10 na ibigay sa presentation, napakarami pang ibang kinatatayuan ng gobyerno sa buhay natin at sa ekonomiya. So, itong 10 na to, yung pinaka-definite, yung pinaka-madaling unawain na role ng roles ng government. So, una is, it ensures the provision of goods and services, redistribution of income and wealth, stabilization of prices, maintenance of low inflation rate, regulates the economy, collects taxes, produces public goods, changes the distribution of income, defines and protects property rights, and regulates monopolies and monopolistic competition. No? In the Philippine government setup, we will be tackling what is monopolies and monopolistic competition. No, so, as business administration students, I hope na narinig nyo na yung terms na to. No, kasi somehow it is a type or form of a business na nag-exist sa isang country, na yung monopolies and monopolistic competition. But again, we will be talking about it furthermore sa next na subtopic, which is the Philippine government setup. Na so, yung mga diniscuss natin kanina, somehow it is just the concepts na dapat nyong malaman na ito pala yung roles ng households, ito pala yung roles ng businesses, ito pala yung roles ng government, iyon pala yung pinagkaiba ng socialism and capitalism, na ito pala yung market economy. Pero anong relation nun dun sa government setup na meron tayo sa bansa natin? Na so, sabi dito, the fundamental function of government in the private enterprise economy is to define and enforce property rights. Without the government's hand, this would lead to anarchy and chaos in the determination of ownership of land, raw materials, buildings, and equipment. The government has the power and judicial courts to enforce contracts and property rights. Now, sabi nga dito, a private enterprise economy. So, we can consider the Philippine government as market economy, na merong mga private institutions, no, na nag-exist dito sa ating country, but yet, kailangan pa rin ng participation ng government, because they are the one who will give the rules, enforce rules to the businesses, para hindi siya mag-cause ng chaos, hindi siya mag-cause ng gulo. Kasi sabi nga natin dito, kung walang nag-govern, maglilid siya sa anarchy, maglilid siya sa chaos. Kung paano malalaman yung ownership ng land, paano ang gagawin sa raw materials, paano itatayo ang buildings, at paano gagamitin ng equipments. Now, the government has the power and judicial courts to enforce contracts and property rights. No, ganun daw nag-e-exist yung Philippine government. And in relation to the government regulation that the Philippines has, no, sabi dito, may unlimited benefits daw na nanggagaling sa government regulations because they set and regulate natural monopolies exemplified by companies. Yung regulations somehow, no, yung nagdidikta kung paano natin babasagin yung monopolistic and monopolies na meron sa isang bansa. No, so, when we talk about monopolies, yun po yung idea na kung saan ang isang business or isang company ay nagmamayari ng marami pang businesses. Like for example, Jollibee Foods Corporation. We can consider Jollibee Foods Corporation as monopoly because under JFC, meron pang ibang businesses na akala natin na magkakalaban but in reality, isa lang naman ang may-ari. No, so, yung government regulation yung nagsiset, no, para nagsiset ng rules and regulations para hindi mas lalong yumaman yung mga mayayaman na. No, kasi binabasag nila yung idea na lahat ng business ay magiging pagmamay-ari lang ng isang tao o ng isang kumpanya because of the regulations that they impose. No, so, sa types of regulation, it can be divided into two. No, may tinatawag tayong traditional regulation at may tinatawag tayong social regulations. Sa traditional regulations, it aims to curb monopolies and monopolistic competition and helps to promote perfect competition. Nagsiset ng rules, ng regulations ang government para baliin yung monopolies and monopolistic competition, kagaya ng binanggit ko kanina, baliin yung idea na isang tao lang ang may-ari ng lahat ng negosyo at mag-promote ng perfect competition. Magkaibang businessman yan, magkaibang business owner man kayo, same man kayo ng product, pero yung traditional regulations or kung paiiranin yung traditional regulations, magkakaroon pa kayo ng perfect competition. Like for example, Jollibee and McDonald's, hindi naman siya pagmamayari ng isang tao, but they have a perfect competition in a way of may mga rulings na sinusunod sila na pareho nilang sinusunod under the Philippine government setup, na kapag sinabing kailangan nilang mag-asikaso ng kanilang taxes sa BIR, pareho nilang gagawin. Kung kailangan nilang magpa-trademark sa DTI, pareho nilang gagawin. Hindi lumalamang yung isa at hindi nalulugo yung isa. No, they promote perfect competitions. No, so, yun yung example ng traditional regulation. The second one is social regulations. It aims to correct and mitigate externalities that safeguards safety, health, and environment. So, kapag pinag-uusapan naman natin yung social regulations, we are talking about the externalities or yung mga iba pang activities na ginagawa ng government para somehow hindi masyadong mabigatan no yung mga mamimili sa pagbili nila ng kanilang ninanais na products or services. No, so sabi pa dito, traditional regulation and social regulations are two different policies, no, possessed or imposed by the government. Yung traditional regulation para yun sa end ng mga businesses, yung social regulation para sa end yun ng mga consumers. No, nagbababa sila ng mga policies, regulations para somehow mapangalagaan yung safety, yung health, yung environment ng consumers. Sa traditional regulation naman, nag-i-impose sila ng mga rules and regulations para maging fair and proper, no, yung processes na ginagawa ng isang business. No, so yun yung pinagkaiba nilang dalawa. And in understanding regulations, nabanggit nga natin kanina sa social regulations yung term na correcting and mitigating externalities. Meron din tayong tinatawag na antitrust activities. So, when we talk about antitrust activities, it balances the classical microeconomics, emphasis on the benefit of perfect competition in the consumers. Government policies exist to protect the consuming public level the playing field, and discourage monopolistic activities by breaking up monopolies. No, so, yung antitrust activities, yun yung mga bagay, no, na ginagawa ng government para mag-balance yung macroeconomics. In the sense na hindi dapat dehado ang consumers at hindi rin naman dapat nakakalamang ang suppliers. May ginagawa ang government to balance the things between the consumers and also the suppliers. Hindi kasi po pwedeng sa isang ekonomiya, paulit-ulit na sila lang yung kumikita. Kasi nga market economy tayo, privately owned economy ang tawag sa atin, private gain. No, kapag existing business ka sa bansa, sa bansa nating ito, ang roles ng government ay mag-impose lang ng regulations para sa gayon ay maging okay pa rin ang sitwasyon ng mga consumers. Pero hindi ka naman pwedeng madehado as business owner. No, so, yung antitrust activities, yun yung ginagawa ng government para mapangalagaan yung yung perspective na para mapangalagaan yung kalagayan ng consumers and also ng suppliers or ng businesses. Kapag pinag-usapan naman natin yung externalities, it is the cost or benefit that affect a third party who is not directly involved in the production or consumption of a goods or service. Generally, externalities are categorized as either negative or positive. No, so yung externalities naman, iyon yung bagay na nakaka-apekto sa end ng mga consumers kahit na hindi naman sila directly dapat affected doon. No, like for example, a business have an elevator. Isang business ay may elevator. Tapos, yung elevator na yon ay hindi out of what do you call this? Out of order. Hindi siya pwedeng gamitin kasi sira. No, hindi naman dapat affected si consumer about dun sa nasirang elevator kasi business naman ang mag-handle nun. Yet, it cause delays, it cause hassleness on the end of the consumers na imbis na sana bababa siya agad, makakababa siya agad kasi may elevator na magagamit, hindi siya agad nakababa because sira yung elevator. So, ganun yung konsepto ng externalities, yung something na nagigain natin or something na nawawala sa atin na hindi naman tayo directly dapat nawalan but yet affected tayo as consumers. So, going back lang dito sa antitrust activities, one of the best example of antitrust activities is the rules and regulation of the government when it comes to price. No, 'di ba? Sabi ko nga kanina, pinapangalagaan yung end ng consumers at also ng suppliers para may safe net yung parehong parties, nagro-rule ang government kung magkano ang presyo ng produkto. Malalaman ng suppliers kung magkano nila dapat ibenta at malalaman ng consumers kung magkano nila pwedeng bilhin. Dahil idinilikta ng government yung tamang fixing pricing or fixed pricing doon sa mga goods and services. So, yun yung example ng antitrust activities. And lastly, in understanding the economic institution and the market economy, there's a term called public goods. It is different from economic goods. It is different from free goods na na-discuss natin. So, public goods is often provided in a free market because its characteristics of non-rivalry and non-excludability mean there is an incentive not to pay. In a free market, firms may not provide the good as they have difficulty charging people for their use. So, when we say public goods, ang ibig sabihin nito ay merong mga produkto na serbisyo sa merkado na walang kalaban at hindi mo pwedeng ihiwalay. Sabi nga dyan, hindi mo pwedeng ihiwalay. At pwede mo rin naman piliing wag bilhin. Kasi nga, kapag pinag-uusapan natin yung free market, sinasabi natin na you can buy whatever you want as long as you have the money for it. And sinasabi dito that a public good can also be a commodity or service that is provided without profit to all members of a society, either by the government or a private individual or organization. So, isang example ng public goods ay yung pag-aaral sa public school. No, so, sabi nga dyan, hindi natin siya pwedeng tanggalin, hindi natin siya pwedeng bilhin, at hindi rin siya pwedeng may kalaban. Dapat nag-e-exist lang siya. Kasi, ang konsepto ng free market ay consumers must be able to gain rather than losing. Kasi nga, may kalayaan ka ng bumili ng bagay na gusto mo. So, hindi dapat padehado, no, yung mangyayari sa'yo as consumer. And when we talk about market economy, meron pa rin namang meddling na ginagawa ang government. Pumapagitna pa rin siya. At merong mga serbisyo at produkto na hindi naman na dapat binibili, no, ng mga consumers. Sa pang-example niyan is yung national defense. Hindi mo naman pwedeng sabihin na ito yung 100,000. Ito yung 100,000. Sige, tingnan mo yung bahay ko the whole day. No. National defense must be gained, no, by all of the citizens inside the country. Public good siyang mako-consider. Non-excludability and non-rivalry. No, so, yun yung public goods. And I guess that ends my discussion for lesson 4 or unit 4, which is economic institution. So, babalikan ko lang yung table of contents ng discussion, no? I first discussed what is market economy, and then the difference between socialism and capitalism, the roles of businesses, household in a market economy, the roles of government, and also what is the Philippine government setup that we have. No, so, yun po yung flow of discussion. I hope you've watched this video hanggang dito sa dulo na to. And, ayan, if you do have questions regarding this topic, you can message me on our class GC or through private message. No, I will be humbly entertain your questions. Ayan. Thank you for watching this video and have a great day.